California under threat? Will it experience a major earthquake this year? Predicting whether California will experience a major earthquake within a specific year is challenging due to the unpredictable nature of seismic events. However, recent studies suggest an increased likelihood of significant seismic activity in the region. For instance, the third Uniform California Earthquake Rupture Forecast, UCIFER 3 for short, indicates a 7% chance of an earthquake magnitude 8 or larger in the next 30 years. Additionally, researchers have observed patterns and pressure along fault lines that could potentially lead to earthquakes, and some predictions estimate a high probability of a magnitude 7 or greater earthquake hitting Southern California before this year. Despite these forecasts, it's important to note that earthquakes are inherently unpredictable and preparedness is key. A recent study indicates that earthquakes along the San Andreas Fault happen roughly every 22 years, with a possible variation of a year or two. This regularity has led to some seismologists to liken living in California to existing under the sword of Damocles. We assume that a major earthquake of magnitude 7 or higher may occur. This could lead to at least 1,800 victims and 50,000 injuries. Estimated damages could be more than $200 billion, said Luca Malagnini, director of National Institute of Geophysics and Volcanology in Italy. The story of one fault, the San Andreas Fault, is a slender chasm stretching 1,300 kilometers across land, diving into the ocean near San Francisco geologically. It represents a fissure in the Earth's crust, extending down to a depth of 16 kilometers. Additionally, it marks the boundary where two lithospheric plates, the Pacific and North American converge. The behavior of tectonic plates is quite unique. They neither converge nor diverge. Instead, they slide under each other and move in parallel but opposite directions at a speed of a whopping 3 to 4 centimeters every year. Over millions of years, this lithospheric drift becomes significantly noticeable. Approximately 23 million years ago, a volcano formed on a fault line. The halves of this volcano have since moved in opposite directions. Today, one half is known as the Pinnacles National Monument, a popular tourist spot famed for its stunning cliffs. The other half lies 314 kilometers away near the town of Lancaster. The movement of lithospheric plates varies from place to place. In some area, it happens so subtly that only highly sensitive seismographs, which periodically detect microshocks, can observe it. In certain areas, the jagged edges of tectonic plates interlock and hinder each other's movements, and these regions are referred to by experts as collision zones. Here, potential energy accumulates over years due to the compression of rocks. Eventually, this natural spring releases, significantly accelerating the plates, moving beyond the usual 3 to 4 centimeters a year. On April 18, 1906, the two sides of California, divided by the San Andreas Fault, shifted suddenly within a mere seconds by 7 meters, that's over 21 feet, relative to each other. San Francisco was reduced to ruins in an instant. The catastrophe claimed 3,000 lives and left 300,000 people homeless. The earthquake's magnitude exceeded 8 on a 9-point scale. The city was consumed by devastating fires, rendering the water supply completely ineffective. Firefighters resorted to using dynamite to demolish houses to prevent the fires from spreading further. In a desperate attempt, residents of Telegraph Hill, San Francisco's affluent district, tried to extinguish the flames using valuable collective wines from their cellars, but to no avail. The 1906 earthquake led to the establishment of new building codes in California, mandating the construction of earthquake-resistant structures. These regulations were instrumental in saving thousands of lives during the 1989 San Francisco earthquake. This time, although the catastrophic destruction was averted, Parts of the old neighborhood still gave way, and a segment of the road bridge collapsed. For several days, rescuers toiled to extract victims from the debris. Tragically, not everyone could be saved. Now, the earthquake registered a magnitude of 6.9, inflicted approximately $17 billion in damage, all within a span of less than 20 seconds. The subsequent significant earthquake took place in 2004. Fortunately, this time California, and specifically San Francisco, was spared major damage. The epicenter of the seismic activity was located in the small town of Parkfield, which had a population of only 37 people at the time. Seismologists warn. Geophysicist Malanini of Italy indicates an impending earthquake, and the team there the analysis of the data from the 6 weeks prior to each seismic event revealed a previously overlooked detail. It was discovered that just before the tremors began, cracks in the stress zone started to open and close. Although this process was not captured on camera, scientists managed to record it through indirect indicators. They studied the phenomenon known as seismic wave attenuation, which refers to the loss of energy by sound waves generated by the earthquake as they travel through solid underground rocks. It was discovered that 6 weeks prior to the earthquake, the behavior of seismic waves altered. As the earthquake approached, the attenuation of low-frequency waves accelerated, causing them to weaken more rapidly. Conversely, high-frequency waves are amplified during this period. Currently, this phenomenon is not observed on the San Andreas Fault. Luca Malagnini and his team, including Robert Nadeau from the University of California, Berkeley, and Tom Parsons of U.S. Geological Survey in Moffett Field, California, stand by their forecast. Indicators that might not be immediately apparent, such as pressure variations along a fault line, greatly raise the probability of an earthquake occurring in California within the year. However, in San Francisco itself, they have long been accustomed to this topic. Residents of the city are even partly proud that they live in such a dangerous place. They even like it. The massive earthquake, with the potential to devastate multiple large states simultaneously. The anticipated event, often referred to as the Great Earthquake, or the Big One, is raising significant alarm throughout California, including in cities like San Francisco, Palm Springs, and Los Angeles. The possible devastation from such a seismic event could be dire, potentially crippling the state's infrastructure with disruptions to water and power supplies, as well as causing extensive damage to roads and buildings. Scientists admit that it is impossible to accurately predict the amount of occurrence of such an earthquake. However, small preliminary tremors can serve as a signal that an event is approaching. Crossed by numerous faults, California presents geological complexity. San Andreas Fault, one of the most famous, is periodically active, shifting plates substantially every 150 years or so. And now the time is coming when the plates may suddenly begin to move. The southern segment of the San Andreas Fault have remained virtually motionless for 2 centuries, a fact that generates excitement among scientists and local residents. The prediction of a major earthquake on the west coast foresees tragic outcomes, with an estimated 1,800 fatalities and over 50,000 injuries at the very least. It's important to note that the likelihood of a tsunami resulting from this earthquake is extremely low. The San Andreas Fault is known for its horizontal movement rather than vertical, which significantly reduces the chance of a tsunami occurring. Recent earthquakes in the United States, unusual for this region, could indicate the possibility of a more significant seismic event in the future. And this is on SolAsk. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.